his own Facebook?
No, no, but I get calls from like other realtors in my market sometimes, and
Yeah.
they go, "Hey, so what's copper doing?" And I'm like, "What the hell? What are you calling me for?" You know? And there's one or two people especially that call me and they ask like 100 questions about copper, and then they go, "Oh, I want to show your property over here."
You go, hey, you know what? If he gets you business, he gets you business.
Yeah, well, it's other realtors. It isn't really me.
Yeah,
It's not
right.
really. They're showing my listings and stuff, which I like that, but
Yeah, I take it all day long. I'm
yeah,
trying
no.
airplane mode so the phone doesn't go crazy. I got my seller who decided that he wants to start texting me right before the webinar, and it's like I've been trying to get a hold of you for 3 days.
Oh, it never fails. It never fails. I got
Eh,
I I got one that I want to tell you. I want to tell you this story. I got one that this guy. I don't know if he's playing dumb with me or he's really just this slick. And I don't think anybody will ever hear this when I tell the story. And it's closing and recording today. But it's a big beach house. It's being rented. It rents for about $650-$700 a day. And every day we've had a little delay. It's like, oh, I can't find the UPS package, and then he looks around all day, and it turns out it's under the mat. So
hmm.
every day he delays the closing with one of these little antics. He makes another 650, $700 in rent because it's prorated and it's rented all summer. And we're like on day 7 of this now,
Hmm.
and I'm scratching my head. I'm going, I know you're not dumb. You know,
Yeah, oh yeah,
this is becoming too much of a coincidence here.
yeah. That I tell you what, that is that's just he's a smart guy, man. He's squeezing the last
Y-
nickel he can out. So
Yeah, I don't want to tell you what he does, but he's got a job that's like you got to be really smart to have this job. You know what I mean? Dummies
ab-
don't get this guy's job.
absolutely,
And fun times though.
yeah. Well, hey man, it's 12:02. We got 6 people on Zoom, and we got a bunch of people over on the Facebook. So I think it's time to go.
Time to
Um,
get started.
all right. So hey everybody, welcome. My name's John Moscillo, real estate agent and also founder of More GCI, and I'm here with Jason Morris, who is king of the universe down south. Real estate agents that really work, and with the XP Real Estate. And we're going to talk today. We're going to do a business planning clinic, and show you goal planning and business planning, goal setting, and stuff like that. Because for me, Jason, maybe you can jump in, with what I'm about to say and agree or add to it. I think that's the biggest disconnect for most agents in this industry, and why so many of them fail or struggle is because they don't even know really where to begin. So it's almost like they're on a hamster wheel, just doing the activities over and over and over without any kind of clear sense on what activities they actually need to be focusing on, or how many of these activities that they need to do. And then eventually they end up with frustration, burnout. They're not seeing the level of increase that they're expecting or want or desire. What do you think about that?
I sometimes I question whether or not some agents understand how we actually make money in the real estate business. They're going out here doing things that that aren't going to ever be income producing activities for them. And I think too that a lot of offices, the way that these offices train, they don't tell agents. There's really two lead generation methods. One is we can go out here and we can prospect and make calls and stuff, and we can get now business. We can get appointments this week. You know what I mean? Or we can sit there in our bedroom and we can write blog posts that are fantastic. And there's nothing wrong with this, but those blog posts aren't going to get us business for 3 to 6 months most of the time. Those videos aren't going to get us immediate business right now unless we have like a tremendous following, which most of us as real estate agents don't really have one. You know,
Hmm.
so so it's so we don't have the following like that we need at least. So I think a lot of agents just don't understand what activities really make us money, and they don't understand how to plan for them, how to plan their day, how to schedule. Um,
Hmm.
they don't understand what makes their business a business, you know?
Exactly. You know what? You just hit on something that I try to drive through people's heads. And when I was training up at the big market center, my training was a little bit different than anything that I see in the industry. And I think that's why some people gravitate towards it once they understand and comprehend it. Then they look at it a little bit differently. And you said the word business. It is a business. The moment you get your license, it's a business. You're self-employed. You're not getting you're getting a 1099. You're not getting a check each week. You're not getting paid for running around the office and whatever you do at the office. You're not getting paid for that. Maybe you are. Maybe you're a trainer or an office manager. But if you're an agent, and that's the people that we're speaking to, you're not getting paid for that. You're getting paid for producing results for your own little business, and you have to run it like your own little business. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling cupcakes, toilet paper, or cat litter. You have to know your audience. Have to know how many you need to sell. You need to know who your market is, and are you going to sell, if you're selling toilet paper, are you going to sell, a half a roll of toilet paper, you know what I mean? Or are you going to sell 3 leaves? That, to me, that's a rental. I'm going to sell you, a handful of toilet paper. I'm just not even going to focus on that. I want to sell you the whole package. And if you're selling muffins, yeah, man, you got to know or cupcakes, you got to know how many cupcakes you need to sell every single day in order to turn a profit, to pay for the lights, to pay for the supplies and everything else like that. And the principles of business are the same, whether it's any one of those businesses, whether it's real estate, whether you're in construction doing concrete, brickwork. It doesn't matter. The principles of business never change. You need to understand that this is our target audience. This is how we're going to do our business. This is how many transactions I need to do. If you're pouring concrete forms, I need to pour 200 concrete forms per year in order to give me the particular, to pay for all my expenses and my taxes and to give me the quality of life that I desire. Do you
Yeah.
do you see people missing that point?
Oh God, I think that I mean, we see real estate agents out here that aren't even selling enough property to pay their dues every year,
Mm,
and let alone everything else. One of the craziest things I see, John, is agents will come up with these systems that are so expensive to implement, and what ends up happening is they're going out here and they think they have to have drone footage for every listing. They got to have a professional photographer for every listing. They got to have a guy that places their signs that are $75, and then when you get down to the end of it, you go, damn, every time they take a listing, it costs them $500,
mm-hmm.
So if every listing you take costs you $500 out of your pocket, as soon as you put it on MLS, it's going to create a system that's not sustainable for you. You know what I mean? So you're going to be in a position where if you're trying to do high volume or a high volume number of listings, you're going to go, oh shit, I listed 8 this month. I'm not going to be able to pay my car payment. And then they
Mm-hmm.
turn around and they go, well, my clients expect me to do all this. And your clients only expected you to do all that because you told them you were. The general public doesn't expect a lot of the new flashy toys that we get. You know what I mean? We as agents, we've sold it to them during the listing presentation, and now they feel like, well, you said the talking box is going to sell my house. And honestly, nobody listens to the talking box. If they're
No.
sitting out in your front yard, if somebody's sitting out in your front yard for 15 minutes listening to the talking box, there's probably something wrong. They've got a flat tire.
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
back 15 years if they listen to the talking box.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So,
So there's a lot of things that agents kind of sell that we're selling people on, and we don't understand that isn't really going to make us more money. You know,
yeah.
um, and a lot of us haven't planned or budgeted for this new toy either, so that creates another problem for us.
Right. So I'm gonna share my screen. Let me see if this works. And just want to show everybody a couple things if I can figure this out. All right, let me see. Can we see the screen? Can you see the screen? Okay, I can
Uh,
see it on Facebook Live there, so I think we're good. You know, I'm going to jump into something in a minute, which is, really revolutionize the way that the agents that I work with see things. But first and foremost, before we even get there, the first thing I like to have agents do is really, we always hear the big why, what's your why, and all this other stuff. And, that's great. And what's your why is why. To me, that's more important than your purpose, why you're doing it. But I like to have everybody, there's really 5 pillars that bring you happiness and peace and success in the world. And it's family, personal, business, spiritual or religious, and financial. You really have to define these 5 pillars, and they all sort of have to be in alignment with each other, because if one of them's out of alignment, everything else sucks, right? So if your family's good and your personal world's good and you're going to the gym and your business is good, or it seems like it's good, and your spiritual, or religious goals are good, and you're doing yoga or praying, whatever it is that you do, but your financial goals are out of whack, it's going to screw everything else up, right? If you're messed up at the family and you're going through, you're in a toxic relationship or going through a divorce or something else like that, your personal world's going to be in turmoil. You're not going to have, good relationships. They're going to be messed up. Your business is definitely going to suffer. You're probably going to lose your way a little bit with whatever your spiritual or religious stuff is, and your financial goals are really going to really going to suffer. So the first thing I like to have people that I'm working with, and everybody, if you're listening, I'm going to share out the links to all of this, and a lot of it's already updated in the group, but I'm going to share links out on both so you can get these forms that we're going to go through. But write down what is the most important, the 3 most important goals, because as you cross one off, you want to move on to the next one, right? But what are the 3 most important goals in each pillar? What's the most important goal for your family? For me, it's quality time with my children, not missing sporting events, and posturing them to get into good schools if that's what they desire to do, or that's where their career path is going to take. Personally, lose 20 pounds. I mean, everybody always wants to lose weight. So what are you doing every day to try to achieve that? Quit smoking. I mean, that's a horrible thing. Business, I want to get my business to a particular point. I want multiple revenue streams, and I want them all to be profitable. Spiritual and religious, man, I leave that up to you. For me, I'm not preaching any kind of religion or anything else like that, or any kind of spirituality. All I'm saying is when you're in tune with a higher energy, whatever that energy is for you, whatever your beliefs are, maybe it's meditation, right? Um, there's less distraction up there. There's more peace. So when I walk on the beach with my headset in and I sit on the rocks and I just think and I reflect and I sit there and I think of the things that I am going to achieve, they all seem to kind of happen. Where if you're back down in the regular energy plane where all the distraction is, you're going to attract more distraction. So you're not going to have a clear path or a clear mind to be able to achieve those things. And financial goals, I know what my financial goals are. I want to put 50 grand away every year inside of a savings account that I don't touch. I want to be completely debt free. I want to have X amount of money that's liquid, that I can invest into other things. So once you actually are able to write these things down and you look at them and, write them down and print them out and keep them in front of you and look at them every single day, multiple times a day. Some days I stand there, my daughter will walk into the dining room, and that's where I work most of the time, and I have whiteboards in there and everything. The first time she did it, she came in, she's like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just looking at my goals. She goes, oh. Now she walks in and she doesn't even bat an eye. She's just like, or her friends will come over and she'll say to them, oh, he's looking at his goals, don't bother him. But to clearly have an idea of what it is that you want to achieve, what it is that you're shooting for, you got to have that, because clarity is freedom. If you don't know what you're going for, it's like you're out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in a dinghy trying to find an island or a shoreline. You don't know what shoreline you're looking for. You just know you're looking for something. And you're hoping that when you land there, there's going to be, people that don't want to eat you. There's going to be things that you can eat and sustain a living. So it's almost kind of the same thing. You've got to have some sort of GPS in your mind of what it is you're trying to achieve. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely, man. I tell you what, my goals are a little different because they encompass a lot of different things now. Not just real estate sales, but it's something that's in a spreadsheet that I look at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And those things that you were just talking about, your family, your personal, your business, your spiritual, and your financial goals. Here's the thing, like even when you're building your schedule, if you have family conflicts with your business conflicts, right? Like you got to take the kids to school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but you hadn't put that in your schedule. What's going to win, your prospecting time or your family time? You know what I mean? And and I promise you this, if your prospecting time is winning or your business time is winning in your schedule over your family, that's going to create a lot of unnecessary stress and stuff at home. And a lot of agents don't really realize that, or it's your personal goals. Oh, you just put the forums up, man. But yeah, if those things are conflicting each other and there's conflicts in your schedule with them, it's going to be harder for you to succeed. But I'm the
Mm-hmm.
same way, man. I've got everything in a spreadsheet. I've got like, hey, I want to write 2 more books this year. I got those wrote down there. I'm tracking my Amazon sales with it. I know to hit my number of books downloaded and sold that I need to do. I need to write another book, or I need to do more with what I got going on. But real estate sales is the same way. I know that, hey, to hit certain goals, only a certain percentage of my listings are going to sell. You're not going to sell 100% of your listings unless you're in
No.
an insane market. I know that roughly about 70% of my listings are going to sell. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to list 10 to be able to get 7 sales.
And you definitely have to understand your conversion rate of that as well. And everybody's a little bit different. We use in more GCI, we use a baseline of 0.52% conversion rate. And we kind of take that, not to plug any kind of book or anything else like that, but the MREA, page 180 and 181, actually talks about that in depth, about how many sellers that you meet, how many are going to sell, how many buyers that you meet, how many are going to buy. And when you do those equations, you'll see that somebody that's been in the business a longer time is going to have closer to a 70, 72, 73% conversion rate, where somebody new in the business is probably going to have a 52% conversion rate. You got to understand that in your whole goal setting mindset, which we'll get into how to run some of those numbers in a few minutes. I'm going to share my screen out again just to touch on a couple things. Again, this is available for download. I just put the link in both places. Oh, there's me. But this PDF right here, this is the training that for a year and a half, I went around to multiple different places to train and to teach. And it's really the benchmark training to more GCI. And we're not going to get into trying to sell you more GCI, anything else like that. This is just our training, so it's got our logos all over it. But there's a couple things that people have to understand getting into this business, because it is a business. What is your vision? What is your purpose? What are your goals? And do you have an exit strategy? Every business has to have an exit strategy. Are you going to build a team so that you can step back and manage the team? Are you going to just run around like a hamster on a wheel, which is the old school method, when you see 70-year-old realtors showing up and they got to go sell a house because they didn't build an exit strategy, so they have to sell to eat? And it's kind of a working workbook, so I'd suggest everybody to download it. In business, if you've never read Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, I suggest highly. That's my favorite book ever. If anybody asks for a book recommendation, that's always my book recommendation. And Michael Gerber breaks it down like this: business has 3 distinct levels. And Jason, I know you're going to agree with me on this. You have the entrepreneurial level, which kind of has the vision of what you're trying to accomplish. You have the management level, which handles, understanding what the vision is and planning for that vision. And then you have the technician level, which is where agents spend the majority of their time running around doing all the technical duties, like showing houses, making calls, doing paperwork, doing ads, and everything else like that. But if you're doing all of that without any kind of guidance to the management level to understand why you're doing what you're doing and how much you need to do it, you're going to end up frustrated. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, man. And a lot of agents don't understand too that I'll tell you, like in my business, I feel like I'm all three. You
Hmm.
know, like we were chatting earlier. I said, "Damn, dude, I cut grass yesterday with a push lawnmower. I got some properties that are rentals, and nobody was living there. I got aggravated with the guy that was working for me. I told him he could go do something else.
Hmm.
Basically he could go work somewhere else. And I just cut the damn grass myself. So that's what I did. So sometimes you end up being the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you got to understand like what's your long-term vision. I did cut the grass yesterday, but buddy, I'm planning to have that thing rented. I'm planning to have that thing rented, so that's the last time it's going to be cut by me for a little while at least. Um,
Yeah.
and, and then I'm just going to be the manager. But the entrepreneur in me goes, "Hey, I don't need 10 of these. I need 20, 30, 40 to get to my goal and where I want to be. What's my exit strategy with those? The exit strategy is buy and hold, but my real estate business. That's kind of the exit strategy from, I don't want to say I'm quitting. I'm not quitting real estate, no, by no means, but that's somewhat of the exit strategy to get out of selling, where it's
Hmm.
not as important that I go sell another house today,
Where you're
you
not
know?
dependent upon it.
Yeah, you're not dependent upon it,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh man, I got to take another listing because, my bills won't be paid if I don't take another listing or get another place in a contract. A lot of agents never really get to that point where they're planning in that way.
No, I think you're 100% right. And man, I've been around the country. I know you interview a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people too. And with the failure rate at 80%, maybe even better than 80%, depends on what article you read. And when you look at small business failure, 4 out of 5 small businesses fail because of lack of business management experience or knowledge. It's to me the same thing. They don't even know where to begin. So, where do you begin? You have to have a vision, understand what it is you're trying to do, plan for it, and then carry it out. And that's when you make that mental connection to each level, and you're going to dedicate some time to each level. Like your entrepreneurial self, you should be reviewing the numbers once a month. Me with my bookkeeper, I have my bookkeeper do it. She sends me over a P&L every month. I look at that. My manager says, okay, we're off track or we're on track. We need to do X, Y, and Z and adjust. And then the technician goes out there and does the adjustments. And it's like this. If you're flying from JFK, and this is why knowing your numbers and tracking and understanding and executing on the management level is important. Let's consider the pilot of an airplane, of a commercial airliner, the management level. Okay. Let's call the navigator the manager. So you're up there, you take off from JFK and you go into LAX. If you're off by 1 degree, not a whole lot, 1 degree, you're going to miss the airport by 50 miles. So you're going to be up there looking out the window saying, hey, Bobby, you see the airport? Nah, man, there's an airport over there. Is it LAX? No, I think it's Ontario. Oh, okay. Well, where's LAX? I don't know. So 1 degree off over a time, and I always say this, that real estate is a marathon, not a sprint. So we shouldn't measure our goals and our progress over a week or a month. Well, a month is okay if you're doing it month to month over the year, but you have to really look at it throughout the year and say, are we on track or are we veering off? And if you're veering off, you have to be able to see that so you can adjust to get back on course.
Yeah, that's right. You know what a lot of agents don't understand what one extra hour of week of prospecting over the course of 50 weeks is going to really do for their business.
Yeah.
That's and that's enormous. I mean, if you prospected an extra 50 hours a year, that's probably going to give you, let's just say 5 hours of prospecting equals one listing. That's going to give you 10 new listings over the course of the year. That's going to give you 5 to 7 sales, 5 to 7 sales in the average market. Well, just saying $150,000 average market to make it easy is going to be $22,000 to $30,000 more in
Mm.
your pocket. What would $30,000 more in your pocket this year do for your life, your business, your family, all that stuff, John?
It would be life changing. I mean, boy, we would be able to all walk around with some nice new Nikes on. We would be going on vacation. We would be putting money into college funds so they can go to college. And I mean, 30 grand's
Dude,
a lot of money.
dude, $2,500 a month. I mean, for you guys that don't really know me, I'm pretty cheap. My living expenses are pretty low. We don't have a big house payment. We don't have a lot of crazy bills. Don't have like a crazy car payment or nothing like that. Dude, $2,500 a month pays all of my living bills. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like light bill, mortgage payment, all that stuff. I mean,
2,500 bucks a month, Jason, is the payment on my lake house. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, exactly. That's
And I don't care. I'm gonna say this, and some of the stuff I say is, I guess, a little bold. I guess we'll use the word bold. And I will say it because I firmly believe it, and I won't say something that I don't believe. And I don't give a rat's crap who you are. I really don't. I know how busy I am and how hard I work. I know how busy you are, Jason, and how hard you work. Because I mean, we talk almost every day. I see you how hard you're working. I see how hard I'm working. I don't care who you are. If you lie to yourself and say that you don't have 1 hour a week, 1 hour a week, and man, I say 1 hour a day, right? Because that's your most important task is lead generation, picking up that telephone. I don't care who you are or how busy you think you are, okay? Because I know the levels that I've hit, and I've always had time to pick up that telephone. A matter of fact, it's the thing that has always kept consistency in my business, where so many people are going on a roller coaster ride. They get 3 deals and they're running around absolutely crazy, and they stop prospecting because they're so focused on being busy, and they're getting caught up in the mundane that they're not being productive. Where after those 3 close, they all of a sudden don't have anything again, and they stop prospecting like crazy again, and they're going down. Then all of a sudden they start getting 1, 2, 3 deals again, and they stop prospecting. Where if you built a solid time blocking schedule and built into that 2 or 3 days a week where you're going to call for 1 hour, now everything that you just mentioned about 50 hours a week has just doubled or quadrupled in time.
yeah,
Now that same $30,000 is 90,000. What's that going to do?
yeah, that's right. You know what you just said? That's the curse of the real estate agent. They have 1 month where they crush it. They got 5, 10 deals closing even, and then the next 2 months they have zero. So they make 30, 40,000, 50,000, maybe more in a month, and then it's then they struggle. It's feast or famine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is because when they're busy, a lot of agents think when you're busy you don't have to prospect anymore. But the truth is prospecting is more important when you're busy, I believe, because what's going to happen is at some point that busyness, that peak is going to start going downhill a little bit, and you're going to have a valley. Like for example, if you're not prospecting right now in June, July, then where you're going to see that in your business is August, September, October. So it's going to be like
100%.
60, 90 days out, because no matter what people believe, and in most markets, it's going to take you 90 days to sell a house. So if we list a house today and it's priced well, okay, if it's priced well, it's going to still take about 30, 45 days to get a solid contract on it. Or that's what it's taking in my market anyway. 30, 45 days for a solid contract, then 30, 45 days for a closing with financing. So anything we list today is going to be 90 to 120 days down the road.
Yeah.
And I actually, you know what? I just seen it here with Latricia. My listings are under contract now. I'm out of business. That's right. Once your
Mm-hmm.
listings go, you're a store with nothing on the shelves.
That's it. You're 100% right. And I'm telling people right now, the people that I'm helping, I tell them right now, you're working for Christmas money. And if you're going to survive the winter, the next 60 to 90 days is what's going to define whether you survive the winter or not. Because if you really want to turn it up in October, it's too late. It's too late. It's too late to get money for Christmas. You got to start working
Oh
your ass
yeah.
off now. And if there's ever a time that you got to really turn it on, man, I tell you what, the next 60 days, turn it on. Don't tell
Yep.
me that you don't have time. I have time. I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning last night, Jason. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning. I'm tired. I was in Boston hanging out with tech people. The night before that, I was down there with investors. I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning doing my real estate stuff, building more GCI, creating content, writing books, and I hit some pretty high levels in real estate. If I have time, everybody listening has time. It's just, the funny thing is when I talk to people and they tell me I don't have time, my first question to them, hey, what's your favorite show on TV? They're like, oh, I love Game of Thrones. I'm like, I've never watched it. Matter of fact, I don't even have freaking cable. I took cable out of my house. See, there's your time. And then you have to look at the activities that you're doing. You do your high yield activities between 9 and 5, and then you do all your other BS activities like running ads, creating the perfect open house flyer. You do all that stuff when you're supposed to quote unquote be watching TV, but once you unplug that TV, man, I'll tell you what, you just gained 3 or 4 hours a day. You really did.
You know what my favorite thing people say is they talk about they don't have leads, they don't have people to call, and I go, hey, why don't you subscribe to RedX? You just open your laptop and there they are, and even if you mention me, you mention the group, they give you $150 off, they do all that stuff. So, and they go, oh, well, I don't have the money, and you're going, but dude, you go to Starbucks every day. 1 week of Starbucks pays for your RedX, You smoke cigarettes. Carton of cigarettes costs $50 to $75, dude. That cut back a half a carton a month, and that pays for your RedX,
Yeah, get
And,
some chewing tobacco.
it's the healthier choice.
But you're right. People's priorities are messed up. It's because they're coming at it from a ham and egg perspective, the 9 to 5 perspective. When you work for somebody, here's the thing. When you work for somebody, you go to work, you punch in. If you're on salary, you show up, right? There is a predetermined set of tasks and goals already provided to you. You just have to show up and do what they tell you to do, and you get a paycheck. But in our business, in our industry, you are that person creating that list. You are that person tracking that list. You are the person that has to think outside the box, and you have the luxury of being the person that shows up to do the task, right? So when people say, I don't know what to do, I don't have leads, go generate leads. When was the last time you dropped some pizzas off at the fire department and introduced yourself to the people, or the police department? When was the last time you went and joined a Rotary, or when did you? Most
Chamber
offices,
of Commerce meeting.
I was just going to say, most offices belong to the Chamber of Commerce. When did you go? And I'll tell you what, our chamber, we had the leadership thing a couple of years ago. Every year they have the leadership where you got to apply for it, and a select amount of people get into it. That brings you to another level. When was the last time you volunteered for the Children's Hospital or a fundraiser? All hospitals have a charitable branch to them. When was the last time you reached out and did something for them? Because I tell you what, you work with these people for 2 or 3 years, you start to meet some pretty influential people. Next thing you know, you're being invited to be on the board. And when you get on the board, it's a whole nother level of society that you might not even know existed. So there's plenty of opportunity, but people don't think like that because they want to come in and just run their Facebook ads and think that business is going to show up. I'll tell you what, man, I'm a taco truck. I am going to drive my taco truck to where the business is, and I'm going to sell my tacos. So you have to be open-minded to doing that. But it also comes down to your goal planning. How many people do you need to contact? How many appointments do you need in a week? You know how many people don't know that? And if you knew that you only needed 1 or 2 or 3 unique, qualified, brand new buyer or seller appointments a week on Monday, for me, I think it's like 1.5. I need 1.5 unique and qualified appointments per week to get me to my goal. So what's my job? Come in on Monday, find a brand new buyer or a brand new seller. I focus on sellers that I can work with. Yeah. It's that simple. Yeah. All the other stress is taken away.
Yeah, if you focus on sellers, buyers will come. The more signs you get in the ground, the more sign calls you're going to have, the more listings you're going to have syndicate all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
The more sellers you have, the more buyers you're going to have. And the ones that are calling you from signs and stuff like that, those are the best buyer leads anyway.
They're pretty motivated.
They're taking initiative. They're driving around looking at houses.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're calling you for more information about the house, they already seen the outside, so at least they like the outside. You know what I mean?
Oh, so
sure. So you're one up, and they like the area because they're driving around the area.
Yeah.
Buyer sign calls it's the best lead you can get, and the best way to get sign calls is just to get more signs out there.
More signs, more buyers, and that's what I see. Honestly, with a kid that I was doing one-on-one coaching with in 2014 was his first year in the business. He said, "Hey, I want to get, my average sale price is 180. The average sale price in the area is 250. How do I get there?" I said, by focusing on getting $250,000 listings, because when you get $250,000 listings, you get $250,000 buyers. He took my advice. He put all his energy and effort towards marketing towards that $250,000 market. Now, every market's different. That's my market, right? So you adjust to yours, go 20% above wherever you are. And all of a sudden I follow, we looked at his numbers at the end of the year, and I'm like, I'll be damned. You had a 30% increase in your business, and you did nothing different than just focus energy over here versus over there. You've got to be okay to let that go and focus over there. But it comes down to this. I was like 4 years ago, I was sitting outside of Lord and Taylor, or one of those shops, waiting for my kids because they ran into the mall to get their mother a Christmas present. And I wrote this on the back of a receipt, and I still have the receipt downstairs in my files. And I came up with this concept because Michael Gerber breaks the business down, the entrepreneur, manager, and technician zone. And I came up with this acronym, UPAD, and it stands for understanding, planning, action, and discipline. And when you look at that, the entrepreneur has the overall vision of the company, and that's the slide that's up now. They have the overall vision of the company. The manager really truly is responsible in any organization for understanding what the end goal is and planning to get there. And the technician is responsible for carrying out that action and having the discipline to do the action and reporting back to the manager. And that's where accountability comes in. Okay. And we are self-employed, and the lion's share of us don't have any accountability back to anybody or anything tracking us or telling us what to do or showing us what to do. We just wake up. I saw a post in the group the other day. Somebody said, I can't sleep. Man, I sleep like a baby every day because I know when I wake up, I do what I'm supposed to do and I go to bed. And everything at the end of that marathon is going to work out. I'm not waking up looking to get that sale today. And we don't sell ice cream. We don't sell shoes. We don't sell meat door to door. You're not going to get a sale. You're going to wake up and you're going to do a required set of activities that have been proven to be successful over and over and over. And when you get paid, you're going to get paid well to do it. Unfortunately, you sell that box of meat, you make $50. We sell a house, you make thousands.
Yeah,
so it's very, very different, right? So I think most agents have a disconnect to the management level of their business, and I call it the disconnect. They're disconnected from the management level, which creates that accountability, which has the understanding and the planning in their business. And when you understand that, and I'm not going to go through this whole thing, I'm going to actually get rid of it right now. When you understand that, you guys go through it. We're going to jump into some goal plan and spreadsheets. But when you understand these things, whoa, what's going on there? That's crazy.
Wow, it's put us in a loop, man.
When you understand where it is you actually even need to begin, right? Magic starts to happen. Stress starts to be reduced. And when I talk to agents and I do consultations with them, I'm like, well, what's your personal budget? And they're like, well, I need to make, I don't know, $4,000 a month. Well, if you don't know, you need to know. And what's your business budget? Oh, I don't know, maybe like $2,000 a month. Well, you need to know both of those. You really do. So what I do with them is this simple little spreadsheet. And again, this is available in the download. They want to make $100,000 in their pocket, right? Let's say you want to make $100,000 in your pocket. Well, you're going to have a tax rate. And I put 20% because my accountant's pretty good and I have a lot of write-offs. You might want to use 25%. But that $100,000 that you want to put in your pocket is very different than the 125 now you need to make, because you got to pay your business partner, right? The government. And then, you all have some sort of cap or split or something else like that, royalty, business expenses. In this particular spreadsheet, the cap's 27.5, the royalties $3,000, and the expenses are $1,000 a month. That gives you now an adjusted gross of $167,500, right? So to put $100,000 in your pocket, you're gonna make $167,000 and part with $67,000. You're gonna have your average commission, right? 2.5%, maybe a 3%. In this last case I did, it was 2.5. What's your average sale price? Here it was 400, but if I change it to 300, all the numbers change, right? So then I look at That's going to give me 67,000. I mean 6.7 million in production, which really is going to give me. I have to sell 2.22 houses per year, which is roughly two a month. So now I have at least some goals to start planning my action plans around. I have to sell two houses at 300,000. Now, if I increase my average sale price, your 22 might go down to 20, right? And you can play around with the spreadsheet however you want. You only fill in the yellow, you don't fill in the green, and the green will auto calculate for you. But now I say, okay, I got to do 6.7 million in production at an average sale price of 300,000 and have my number of transactional sides at 22, 23, and you're going to want to track that. And then how are you going to get that? That's going to break down even further, and I'll show you something in a minute how we're going to break that down even further into how that correlates to the number of appointments. We're going to take that and show you how many contacts you need to be making and stuff like that, because now we're breaking that big macro goal of $167,000 down to micro goals of daily activities. And if you just do those daily activities, then magic happens. It happens. It just happens. When you do the activity, it all just happens. It just doesn't happen as quickly. You have to have some patience. What I find is most agents are waiting for that next check so they can pay their mortgage or the rent payment or the car payment on their new Beamer, where they don't have that cushion. Through discipline, I actually have a cushion, so I don't worry at the end of each month. I draw a salary each week from my company, so I don't have that same pressure. And I learned the hard way to do that. I did, and that's why I'm able to teach it this way. I learned the hard way. And one of those things that I learned, Jason, I'm sure you see this too a lot. People get paid $5,000 and they think that
And spend it.
they think it's theirs.
Yeah.
But you gotta be sitting here saying, all right, 20% right off the top is going into an account that I can't touch. 10% is going into my business. Maybe you're 20%. These are numbers that you can play with again in the spreadsheets. You should be thinking of retirement, right? Insurances. I like to put money into rainy day, savings account, leisure. That's my fun money. And then my personal income. So in this particular scenario, 53% to the bottom line. So my $5,000 actually, $2,600 goes into my personal account in this particular scenario. Now everybody's different.
Let me ask you this. How does it feel when you're not really worried about your bills this month? How's that feel? Like, I know you're getting out there and working and stuff, but a lot of agents are so stressed out over getting that next deal closed until they can't really think what they have to do. But once you get past that and you've built this discipline, you've got a little bit of money in the bank, you got some money set aside in that rainy day fund, things like that. What does that do for you when you get past that? Like, oh my God, I need a paycheck ASAP.
Yeah, kind of like Mahatma Gandhi eating a piece of bread after a starvation period, dude. It's liberating. It's really liberating. Yeah. I have a different stress now. I don't have that day-to-day stress. It's freedom. It's liberating. It really is.
Yeah. I feel like different times in life, everybody's in different financial positions at different times. But, like this week, we're having a baby. So I had all kind of stuff I had to cancel. It's not a big deal if I don't go to work this week. Honestly, it's not a big deal if I go to work the month of July. But the reason is because I planned so that having a closing. Now I still got stuff showing. I got an offer today. I think it's getting accepted. I got a lot of listings, whether I actually go to the office or not, it doesn't really matter. But all that's come through discipline to get to that level of, hey, I don't really have to go to work next week. Now, eventually I got to go back to work or the wheels in the machine are going to stop turning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as of right now, dude, I'm not planning to really do much here the next week. I'm just waiting on the baby to come. When the baby comes, I want to spend time with her. But dude, while I'm sitting at home, and we're looking at the baby and holding it, dude, I still got stuff being shown.
Yeah.
I still got showings happening. I'll probably sell a house. I'll probably sell a couple of houses, man. And a
And
lot
you
of
have
agents don't
checks showing
realize
up at
that.
the mailbox, you know?
I know. I'm so depressed when I get to the mailbox and there's not a check for me there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to share this right now just as maybe a beacon of hope. And I know you can relate to what I'm about to say. Jason, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago um, that I actually got out of a toxic relationship, which cost me everything. And I ended up sleeping on my ex-wife's couch for 6 months and to recuperate because I had no money to go get an apartment. I had no money. My credit was hammered. All my money was gone. I signed the deed away to the house and I walked away. And that price of freedom, that price. And, a short time later, I was able, I finally got my head in the game and I just grinded every single day. I went out and I took every opportunity every single day. And not only did, I build, at the same time, I was building more GCI, which was a complete liberation for me. I was able to hide myself inside the company and just grow it and build it and do all the things I needed to do. I also focused on real estate because the quickest way out of debt was to make five, six, seven, $8,000 at a clip. And when I walked into a place to get the listing, there was no negotiating. There was no thinking about it. There was no telling me no. There was no talking me down in commission. I was there. We're closing this deal. I'm the professional. And when you're that hungry, you will thrive. The problem is, I just don't feel some people are hungry enough. I have been to hell and back, and now I'm able to sit on my porch and do a webinar and not worry if my credit card's going to work. You know what I mean? Friggin', I got a MasterCard that has a ridiculous limit on it now because I've worked my ass off for 2 years and built additional revenue streams and worked from 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning until midnight. Now, I don't expect everybody to do that. I was building two companies. But if I can build two companies at the same time, you can build one company at the same time. You just got to be hungry. You got to be focused. You got to be disciplined and be accountable. And that's it. You got to know where you're going. You got to know what steps you're going to take to get there, and you're going to get there. You
You
know?
gotta have a plan. Gotta have a plan. I see that too. Talking about what you said, I see a lot of people that sometimes the plan they have, they know what they need to do, but it's the people that surround them that prevent them from carrying out their plan.
Mm-hmm.
That five people that you spend the most time with absolutely crushes some people. They got friends that aren't doing anything, and so they're not doing anything either.
No, you are 100% the sum of the five people you're around most. So take inventory constantly. I had to let go a person that I thought I loved. I did love her, whether that person was capable of love or not is different. I actually unfriended somebody who was my best friend. I ate dinner at his house 3 days a week. We mountain bike every single day together, because he kept telling me to stop. Just focus on real estate. Give up your dream. Give up my dream because you gave up your dream? I don't think so. I'm going for it, and I'm glad I did. Now, I have people flying me out to San Diego, Miami, Washington D.C. I was just invited by a big invest. I mean, I'm talking about this guy's got $100 million. He was one of the people that started mutual funds, right? Way back in the day. This guy's like 75 years old. He invited me to go to New York with him to listen to this startup thing. So you can get there. Anybody can get there, but you have to be focused on it, and you have to watch out for those people that are dragging you down around you, and only associate. Snoop Dogg. We can all relate to Snoop Dogg. I'm sure he said it in an interview with, I don't know who the interview he was doing. Maybe it was like Lil Wayne or something. And he said, "Hey, listen, you need to raise your bar. And when you raise your bar, if your friends aren't raising their bar to be with you, the only way you can be with your friend is to lower your bar, and that's not fair to you. So you have to continually raise your bar. And if the people aren't raising their bar to be with you, that might be a blessing, but it's definitely a sign. And you have to be conscious of that. You have to be notice that stuff."
Oh yeah, I'm very conscious of the people around me, dude. If they don't have anything going on, I'm friendly with everybody, but say, hey, if they don't have anything going on, they're really not doing anything, they don't have any goals in life or anything, we're probably not going to be hanging out. We're not going to go to lunch together. I don't want to
Hmm.
hear about how, you're going to your regular job and you're not really looking for anything else. You know what I mean? I just can't, I feel like it brings me down, man.
What's the saying? Small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. So when I'm around somebody and they start talking about somebody, I'm like, I'm really not interested in having this conversation. What do you think about blah, blah, blah? And I change the direction of the conversation because, putting that negative energy out there is negative. I mean, the law of attraction, if you're talking about somebody, somebody's talking about you. But I want to show you this real quick. I mean, I can go on all day long talking about this stuff. Um, but this is in essence what more GCI does, right? So in the spreadsheet, we figured out how much you need to make gross commission wise. So I'm going to put a buck 67.5, what your commission goals are, and what your average sale price is. And hopefully this works because I queued it up earlier. You know what? It's not gonna. So let me just put an access code in here real quick because I queued it up over an hour ago. So it's not gonna let me. But you keep talking because I'm going to turn everybody off for a minute so you can see my access code.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, John, I really think what you should do, man, is you're talking about the credit card. I think so everybody believes you. You should just flash your credit card number on the screen here for
You want me
everybody
to?
watching. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll flash this. I'll flash the
Flash
back
the
of it
credit.
too.
Yeah, we need the three-digit code on the back.
So give me 1 second. Um, you know, Understanding, Jason, is I think the key to it all, and I just don't think a lot of people understand when they get into this business that they actually started a business. They see, Josh Altman on TV making millions of dollars and, selling these big fancy houses. And when you get into the business, the thing that I try to tell people is it doesn't matter. The phone's not going to ring. You have to make the phone ring, right?
Oh
You
yeah,
have to go make the phone ring. And
yeah. A
if you
lot of
don't make the phone ring, it's not going to just ring.
yeah,
And
a lot of agents think they get a license and people just show up. And sometimes the last people to do business with you will be your family and friends, will be your sphere of influence.
mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of agents go. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he said, "Oh, my friend sold." He was upset because his friend sold a house, and they didn't use him. Well, dude, they probably didn't know you're a real estate agent. I mean, that's probably number one. And number two, you've changed jobs 10 times. Sometimes the easiest deals to get is your first deals are deals from people that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've seen over and over again. The easiest deals are probably from the people that you don't know.
Yeah, you're 100% right. So let me switch back over so I can show you what I did. I queued this up over an hour ago, so it timed out on me. But of course, my computer wants to play hardball. So let me share the screen now. Um, you'll see here what the essence of what more GCI does, and you know it's I'm trying to change people's mindset just a little bit. So it's always, when you go up against the big beast, when you go up against the norm, you always get a little bit of pushback, right? And this is no different. So what happens is I plug my goals in, and this is what your dashboard looks like right off the bat. But what it shows you is, so for me to do 167,000 in gross commission income, and my average sale price at 300,000, I need to run one appointment a week and track it. So I know if I didn't run any this week, I'm going to have a negative gap of one, right? It's also going to show me I need to do 22 transactional sides. This is pretty spot on with what the spreadsheet told us. And again, the spreadsheet's there. So if you want to use this, we'll give you a discount code for it if you want to do it on a spreadsheet. But please just track your numbers, right? It's going to show you what your goals are and such. Now, It's going to also show you how many warm or cold contacts you need to be doing per week in order to get that. If you can't contact 18 people per week that 18 divided by 5 is what? 3.5?
Yeah.
If you can't make 3.5 calls a day to people that to people that you network with, now the goal obviously is to get a list that you can contact once per quarter. And now, you're going to contact everybody once per quarter. So it does take some time to build that. And you build that through networking and everything else like that, right? And your past clients and their friends. But now you have actually some level to start from. You got 72 cold contacts. 72 divided by 5 is what, 18 or something? So you need to make 18 cold contacts a day.
Actually, that's 14.
That's an hour or two on the phone. So now, okay, I need to do an hour or two on the phone to put 100 grand in my pocket. So we're breaking it down to the absolute silly and the absolute ridiculous, right? But why this is important is if your goal, if you're at 2.5%, and this is what I coach some people with, right? And let's say your average sale price focused on 300, let's say you bumped it up, 20% of 300 is 360. Now all of a sudden your numbers completely change. So if you're able to be a lot better with your commission and not give yourself away, right? I bumped that up 0.5%, and I bumped my average sale price up because now I'm focusing in a different area. Now I don't have to do 22, I have to do 16, which now drops us down to 12, which now drops us down to 50, right? So there's your business plan. Now as a manager, you understand, for me to make 100 grand in my pocket with the expenses that I have, I need to sell 16 houses per year. That seems pretty easy.
That's not bad. You know what? I always find that the number of people you need to talk to and stuff is always a lot less than what people think it is.
Yeah.
Like when you actually break it down and you actually really track your numbers, like not tracking your numbers, you think there's this insurmountable goal that looks like a mountain. And when you really break it down and you really track your numbers, it turns out it's really not that many. To get a listing, I mean, when you're calling for sale by owners to get a listing, how many people do you really have to talk to? If you call 20 of them or you call 15 of them, typically, man, if I talk to 20 of them on the phone, I've got somebody that's going to let me come to their house and talk to them about putting it on the market,
Yeah.
For sure, 20 I think is on the extremely high end. More than likely, if I talk to 4 or 5 of them, I could get 1 out of 5 if I can get them on the phone. Z-Buyer too. Dude, I probably list 1 out of 5 with Z-Buyer.
Take a look at this. So it's 2000. We're halfway through the year, Jason.
Yeah.
Which means you should be halfway to your goal, right?
That's right. Yeah.
This is a seasoned account. This is my test seasoned account, and we do track information here. We put the wrong name in here on purpose so nobody can steal the name, right? But all the financial stuff is correct. So I basically masked my other account. So I'm looking at this. These are all my follow-ups I need to make, right? You see, I'm a little bit behind on that, and I got nobody to blame. I can drill down further and see where my best referral sources are coming from that actually closed and made me money. I'm looking at my pipeline. This is tangible business, right? So I got $2.5 million of tangible business in my pipeline. Those are my most important people, right? I'm nurturing these, move them into the pipeline. Now I still need to do just one appointment per year. I got 4 in the contract for 28 grand coming in. It's a good feeling looking at your screen to know that, hey, I got 28 grand coming in. I know I'm pretty, there's a good chance I'm going to eat steak for the next, 90 days. I don't have to cut it back to ramen. And, here's my production goal to year, blah, blah, blah. 26 transactions, did 13 more to go, 4 on the contract. So that drops me down to 9. Now I know as my manager, where am I going to get my other 9? How many can I pull out of here? My average commission, 2.5. So I think I don't know why there's a deficit of 147. I'd have to drill down. I think there was a flat fee thing involved. My average sale price, 306. How many contacts I need to do? So now I'm looking at this. My goal is 200 grand a year. I'm at 99 grand. I got 100 grand more to go. So I'm spot on to hit my goals because I'm at 50%. Call that. We're rounding up. We're at 50% to my goal, at 50% throughout the year. It makes me feel good. If I'm looking at this though and I'm seeing I'm at 23% to my goal, there's a problem.
Oh yeah, there's a
And
problem.
you have to identify the problem.
Yep. You could be on the other end of that too. If you work a little harder, get a little bit ahead. I mean, honestly, man, you got four closing on this, it looks like. Those
Hmm.
four are going to close in the next 30 days. So,
Hmm.
dude, that's probably going to put you at 60% of your goal right there.
Well, 1.2, so call that 4. So that'll give me 5.2 on 8. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's going to put you like 60%. And when you track, you can actually see those things.
Mm.
If you're not tracking, you're just kind of guessing and hoping for the best.
That's exactly it. And so we just gave a whole overview from almost like a philosophical um, point, if you would, from where you need to be, um, where you need to be um, with your 5 pillars, to how to plan your business, to now how to track your business and keep you on track. So you hear that? Yeah, you're on TV. How you doing? Boy, that's so annoying. Um, but now you have a good understanding what it takes on all levels to execute. And there's a reason I execute on a higher level. And I actually reduced my goal this year. My goal's always been 250. I reduced my goal this year just because other things are taking more and more of my time. So in order to jump from, to get from one summit to the next summit, you got to go down the mountain, across the valley, and up the summit, right? So I'm going down. I'm in the valley right now and starting to climb another mountain. So you have to, you're going to take a hit, and you have to actually take that hit. Shut up! Oh my God. You have to take that hit. So I had to reduce my numbers. If I have to do 250 this year, I'd be halfway to 250 because I know I would have been doing more lead generating activities earlier on. And that didn't just happen, man. A lot of that happened. I'm going to tell you what. A lot of that happened in the first quarter. I would say about half of that happened in the first quarter. And why did it happen in the first quarter? Because people were expiring in December. People were expiring in January. And man, I call that the Fizbo buffet. I called them all up. I got another one that's coming on the market next week that expired in January. And I called, and I've been staying in touch with her. I got another one that should be coming on, and there's a nice one, 400, probably 429. That one expired, and I've been staying in touch with them too. And it's all expired. Make contacts, send them out a card with some brownies, stay in touch, follow up once in a while, and then when they're ready, boom.
Well, man, I think a lot of agents, one of the sources of deals that they miss and they don't look at is how to get the most out of the deals they already have going on. Like, for example, I've got listings right now that honestly I'm not getting showings on.
Mm-hmm.
So what can I do with those listings to get showings on? I mean, I go take better pictures and write a better description if I got gross pictures and a gross description, or I can price reduce them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, what else can we do to get the most out of, or more out of the business that we're already doing, more out of the listings we're already taking, more out of the buyers we're already generating? A lot of agents don't look at that. How can I get the most out of what I already got?
How can you make the most out of what you already got? Man, I'll tell you, I would, to me, it's leverage. It's really, I try to find leverage or how I can leverage everything. And what I mean by that is, so I got listings that aren't moving. Have I done everything possible to them? Have I put them in, community pages? Have I put them in yard sale groups? Have I tried boosting any of those things? You're not going to sell them all. So what I look at is how can I leverage that listing into more business? Because ultimately that's the goal. They're giving you the house to market, and you are going to leverage your skill or the market or whatever into getting that house sold so you can get paid. But you have to also look at it as how can I leverage this into additional business? Have you called everybody in the neighborhood? Have you sent out cards? Just listed, just sold cards? Have you called the neighborhood on a 10-10-20 circle campaign?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, who really cares if that house sells or not? And I think a lot of agents have an emotional attachment to the outcome, and you can't have an emotional outcome You just can't. You can't be attached to the emotion. Some do, some don't. So what next? I actually said that to Will today. Some do, some don't. So what next? You have to continually move on. And when you're a good manager in business, you're able to shut the personal emotions off and understand, okay, I took 20 listings this year. I sold 15, so my conversion rate is 75%. So if I want to sell 20, I got to take 27.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you got to price reduce a couple of those you already got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think we kind of miss that sometimes, that it's kind of that there's more we could do with what we already have. And I tell you, the buyer thing for me lately, getting the most out of my buyer leads has been the credit repair thing I was telling you about the other day. We keep
Yeah.
talking about. That's been a big for me. Um, the people that are really interested, not all of them are going to do it. Okay, you're not going to have everybody do it, but the ones that are interested, that really want to buy a house, and they're short 20 points, they're short 40 points, something like that, dude, they'll sign up. They've got a down payment already. This is a dream. Home ownership is a dream for them. Those people will sign up. They'll stay in the program. You can monitor it. You can follow up and work with them. The people that, some of the agents that have talked to me about it, they say, well, what about if the people don't want to do it? Well, hey, if they don't want to do it, that's fine too. You don't have to worry about following up with them anymore. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
easy. But a lot of the stuff that I've really looked at and worked on, especially this year, is how can I get the most out of what I already got, you know?
That you're 100% right. You need to be able, and it comes down to this really. And this I learned this when I was taking, I know, one of the multiple business classes at Southern New Hampshire. Um, Efficiency equals profit, plain and simple. Efficiency equals profit. So if you have 100 leads, and I have 100 leads, and you sell 50 of those 100, and I sell 40 of those 100, you're more efficient than me, so you're making more money than me.
That's
If
right.
everything else is the same, if the market price is the same, we're in the same market, you're making more than me. So what did you do? What's your system for efficiency to get extra 10 deals, which in this case seems to be about what, a 10%, a 10% better than me? You are more efficient. So you took
10%.
what you had and you found how to make that profit. It's like Dunkin' Donuts, man. When I was a kid, you used to go into Dunkin' Donuts and they give you the donut hole because they didn't know that it was junk to them until some bean counter came along and said, "Hey, we're just giving these away. Why don't we charge 5 cents?"
Yeah, we can sell those.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
And how can we take the byproduct, if you would, for lack of a better term, and turn it into something profitable?
Yes, sir. That's right, man. That's right.
And that's what I love about that whole credit repair thing is I'm able to take all these people and I'm able to actually I dedicate, $20 to some ads to build bridges to those people. And I actually reached out to some of my mortgage people who are getting involved because, one mortgage guy had 56 rejects this year. 56 that he gave to somebody else. He said, why don't we keep them close to home and follow up with them? And what I'm doing, again, thinking outside the box, is when I get those people, I'm dumping them on a CRM drip campaign. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Following up with them every 2 weeks, and I throw a house in there. Boom, 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 to keep them interested in home ownership. So yeah, what can you do? What can you be more efficient with what you got? So
Yep, that's right. That's right.
that's
We're
all I
staying
got,
on
man.
what
I
we're
could
already
talk
doing.
about this all day long. I could talk about goal planning and efficiency. Um, what do you got? You got anything you want to add?
Man, I think that's it. I think that's it. We got a couple question here from Latricia Kelly. Do you get them in your credit repair thing? Um, I do. I feel like I'm calling the lead anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm talking to them, if they really want to buy a house, they're short on their credit, they got weak credit score or whatever it is. I feel like it's just an easy transition to say, hey, look, I got this company that works on credit. They're pretty reasonable price. They can probably get you set up within 3 to 6 months if you're 40 points away. If you follow what they tell you to do, you can probably buy a house in the next 3 to 6 months. How's that sound to you? If they say, yeah, I just send them over the link and they sign up, the company does the credit repair. I'm not actually doing credit repair. So not all of them are going to sign up. Some of them, honestly, some people have a 500 credit score. They don't pay their bills today. They're never really going to pay their bills. It's a habit, you know. Some people have a 500 credit score or 550 credit score because, you know, hey, they've got something wrong on their credit, or they got a credit card that was 3 or 4 years old, or, you know, my God, I mean, it could be a bunch of different stuff.
Mm-hmm. A lot of different things, but you get them in there, dude. I know I signed myself up and I got a call a couple days later saying, hey, welcome. I got an email saying, hey, we need these forms. I uploaded those forms. I got a call a couple days later saying, hey, we need one more form because one form was illegible. I'm not, no, that's the back end talking to me. And I thought that was so cool where I can just dump people in and get their credit repaired and build that future pipeline 6 months down the road, where I can then hand those buyers, either run with those buyers if I want, or hand those buyers off to a group, somebody in the group, and let them run with them and earn the referral. You know, to me, revenue streams, man, and that's why I'm able to sit here on my porch and not worry today. Did I lose you? I think I might have lost you. My screen was going a little haywire. Anyways, y'all, you know, thank you for joining. If you have any questions, reach out to me or Jason. If you need some help with business planning and everything, you know, feel free to reach out to either of us. Hopefully the stuff here helped you. Download the forms, and, you know, you can run those scenarios for yourself and be able to see where your business is at and everything else like that. I put a discount code at both places that gives you 50% off more GCI, $10 a month to take control of your business. Man, I tell you what, I'm not eating steak on $10. So it's not a get rich quick scheme, that's for sure. But it definitely helps your business. The people that I work with, I see an average of 30%, 31% to be precise. I've helped people quadruple their income. Well, one shy of quadrupling. He did 7 in his first year. He did 27 the next year. So he was one shy of quadrupling. And that's all because he understood his business. And when you understand your business, when you plan your business, when you keep track of your business, and you're accountable, you're going to reduce stress. You're going to increase your production and your focus. You're going to live a better quality of life. So anyways, if there's any questions, everybody, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Jason. And look forward to seeing you all on the top. Happy selling, everybody.